Greetings. I know I have a lot of explaining to do because I haven't been able to put videos out. I put one out this month, or I guess technically last month because it's July now. And in the description of that video, I explained that internet troubles, I wasn't gonna be able to post very much. So let's just get into it because June 2021 is one of the rockiest months I've had my whole life. So it was pretty bad. So I'm going to start from the beginning. The first of the month of June, I was at my friend's house, you know the one. I'm not going to say his name because he wants his privacy, and I understand that. I'm not going to get to that. But he took me home that day, and the internet was out. And it was wishy-washy basically all month. It finally got fixed yesterday. So it's working normally again, so I can post videos again. So I'm going to have to get back into the habit of doing that. Sorry if I'm a little bit loud. I did it. So, yeah, internet, yeah, I've gone into that. Other than that, though, for the first half of the month, not a lot happened. It was mostly just dealing with it. And then the 17th comes along, and I turned 39. And if you didn't believe me when I said I was old, there you go. I have one good year left until I become a middle-aged man. Assuming that you turn middle-aged at 40. I've heard some say you turn middle-aged at 35, but I don't know. I'm gonna keep fooling myself into thinking I have one good year left. I don't know. And of course, that's kind of subjective because some people say life starts at 40. But that's not the point of this video. I'm just bullshitting. I'm just talking out of my butt at this point. Anyway, not very many of my birthdays have been above mediocre. So I wasn't really surprised when this one was not much of anything. But the real pain starts 3 days after that, on the 20th, where I find out that my grandmother, my favorite one from my mom's side of the family, died. She passed away, I think, of old age. I don't know the whole detail, but yeah. So the very next day, at like mid-afternoon, because it takes us a while to get set up, and with my brother and his wife having places to go and stuff, it took us a while. But eventually, me, my brother, and my mom all got into a car and drove up, well, down, I guess, 2 states from where we were. I shouldn't say which direction, but I don't really want to talk about what state I'm in, and so there's other things. It's not that big a deal. But we get to the state where our destination is, which is the house Granny used to live in, the one that her husband, my grandfather, Papa, still lives in to this day, as far as I know. I haven't heard about him passing yet. And I hope, well, I'm not going to get into that, but. So, anyway, it's been raining all day. It's raining like crazy at this point. Uh, and Mom turns to go to this rest stop, and she's slowing down. But the road is so wet that she loses control, and the van we're in hydroplanes and goes onto a curb, not curve. Uh, every piece of technology connecting the front driver's side wheel to its axle is broken, and it would cost so much to repair that Mom just considers that van old. Yeah, and then of course it didn't help that the local tow service decided to be assholes and overcharge because it was the middle of the night and they had to be woken up to come get us. And then we didn't. It was like 20 feet of movement from where we crashed to a parking spot in there, and they still charged like 175. Yeah, but eventually, Mom's oldest sister. She doesn't have any brothers. She has 3 sisters. Her oldest sister comes gets us, and then she has a flat tire. She busts a tire on the way home, on the way to Papa's house. So that day was just cursed. But she had a spare on her, so she fixed it, and Brian, my brother, changed the wheel. I shouldn't say his name. I'll let his name out. My brother changes the wheel, so we get back on the road. We get there eventually, and the trip was kind of rough on me. The way there wasn't bad, but like I was getting maybe a few hours of sleep every night with like naps during the day. It doesn't help that my sleep schedule is kind of messed up anyway, because I have to wait till nighttime to upload, right? But I wasn't getting much sleep, and then the way back, there's this situation where it was like 2 in the morning, mom was having trouble staying on the road because she was exhausted, so we did this rest stop, which we don't crash at, thankfully, because we're in a rental car at that point. And so I have to sit there in the car and wait for mom to get her the sleep she needs to drive us the rest of the way, because for the life of me, I can't get comfortable in that car. So believe you me, once I got home, I was out for a long time. I woke up to have supper, and then once I was done eating, I went right back to sleep. And then, of course, when we got home, I wasn't feeling it yet, and the internet was out, and I had to wait for that to get back on again. So, the reason that's kind of valid for the story is because apparently my brother's wife said that the internet had been fixed, but no, it hadn't. But anyway, I'm kind of skipping a lot. So we get there, um, either Monday or Tuesday. I'm not entirely sure which. But let me see here. It was the morning of the 21st. Uh, so yeah, Tuesday. We get there Tuesday, and it's Tuesday morning. Yeah. So we spent Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday just hanging out with family. Me getting whatever sleep I can, and just hanging out, talking to people. The last time I visited family states away, I was on the computer most of the time, and I wanted to rectify that. But by the next morning, I kind of felt like I was just listening to people talk and not having a lot to say myself. So it was kind of rough, but eventually, I got the family interaction I wanted. So Friday was the ceremony, because the family and Granny's church friends didn't want to see it as a funeral to mourn the loss. They wanted to celebrate the life that she had, the 82 years of life that Granny had. So it was a ceremony, not a funeral. And so they had church friends come up first, which I thought was a little bit BS, but it was their church, so whatever. And then mom and her 3 sisters all came up at the same time and had read this poem out, and then talked about growing up with Granny. And because I don't remember, mom in particular said that Granny was a parent first to them and then a friend second, which funny the parallels drawn to that, because looking back at what few memories I have of my childhood, it was basically the same. She treated us the same as her mother treated her. Like we were her children first and her friends second. But anyway, they get done, and then it's time for the grandkids to come up and tell stories. And me and one other person tell a story. And I was kind of disappointed in that, because I wanted to hear stories from other people. I wanted to hear a lot of stories. But I understand people being shy talking up in front of others. There was a lot of crying going on. I remember hearing that, so it's understandable. And so while my mom and my aunts were up there, I was thinking I'm gonna be the first one up there. And then I decided maybe I should let 1 or 2 people come up first, and then tell my story, because I was starting to feel a bit self-conscious. I was feeling a bit selfish, and when I started to tell my story, I said, like, the story might be a bit selfish, but it wasn't the story that was selfish. It was my attitude toward it, because something my brother told me early on in the trip was that we were there for mom. We were there to be a rock for her to lean on. And I agreed with that, but that wasn't my primary objective there. Like, I would let anybody who needed to lean on me, right? But I was there for Granny. I was there to tell my stories, to speak on what few memories I have, and I'll get to that in a minute, and then say goodbye to her. Which, after the ceremony, I remember seeing a message in the drapes because I was sitting outside and with Brian and a few family members, and I remember kind of like staring off into space, as I do because I have the autism. I'm on Asperger's syndrome. I'm on the high end of the syndrome. I'm highly functional, but I remember kind of like phasing off and seeing this message. First, I saw my name, right? Like I was facing like my eyes weren't focused, and I saw my name, and I focused, and it wasn't there. And then, so I calm down a bit, and my eyes lose focus again, and I see "I love you," and immediately I'm thinking about you too, Granny, because I remember Brian having kind of a similar experience where he started to cry because of Granny's loss, and it started to rain as he was starting to cry, and he said, "I'm thinking of you, Granny," as well at that point. So I figured that's what that was. Now, it very easily could have been me imagining things, I'll be honest, because uh, my, especially as a little kid, like my imagination was extremely powerful. One of my first memories is lying in bed, hearing a voice say, "Hey kid, would you like a hot dog?" And then reaching up to this hot dog I see only for me to grab air, and then realize I'm imagining it all. Like, I mean, I've put it to use, but it was a lot stronger than it is now. I have a lot more of a grasp on reality, I guess. But so anyway, I get up there and I tell this. I have this speech. Like I mentioned something I said on Facebook before we left, that because of the way I was born, because of the way my brain is, which, like I mentioned, the Spurg, the high end of the spectrum. Um, my memory has never been the best, and with as old as I am now, my memories of my childhood are basically bits and pieces. But most of the bits and pieces are of my time with Granny. That was not me crying. I mean, because I've it's been like 2 weeks, so I've gotten over it. Yeah, that was not because I've been having snot issues year round because of, I assume, allergies, but I don't know. So the memory that I share is I remember sitting in the passenger seat of this car that's pulling up to one of the houses in Georgia. I will say that state's name that Granny had, because Granny lived in two houses in different houses in Georgia as I was growing up before she moved to different states for varying reasons, that most of which I don't know. So, but as soon as the car comes to a complete start, I remember hearing a voice. I'm not entirely sure whose, probably Mom's, but I'm not sure, saying that Granny was under the weather. She was feeling sick, so I had to be gentle with her. I had to be careful with her, right? And of course, first thing I do is run right up to her room, only to find her standing in the doorway. And I ask her, like, because that seems a little sus, right? Like, she's under the weather. What is she doing standing up, much less in her doorway? So I ask her, and she says that she could feel my presence. Like, she could tell that I was coming to her, and that me being around her made her feel better. And of course, being a young Spurg, I thought I had magical healing powers or some crap. But no, that was just how strongly she loved me. And for the longest time, I thought like I was her favorite grandkid or something, because she and Papa both treated me with nothing but love and affection. Like Mom loved me, but she was trying to be a parent, you know. So the experience is a little bit different. But unless something I found out before I gave my speech during that ceremony, listening to everybody else's stories, she didn't just treat me that way. she didn't just treat her family that way. Granny treated everybody the way she treated me growing up. Nothing but love and affection. Somebody said, what was it, unconditional love? And I 100% agree with that. She was a very loving woman. She was very firm in her beliefs, and I believe one of, if not her last words, were, "I am tired, let me go to my God." Which, I'm a religious person myself, but she's like Southern Baptist. I'm Latter-day Saints, so not the same denomination, but that wasn't a day for denominations. That was a day to remember a woman who loved almost everybody she met. Like, of course, Harmon, like, something that I've always known about myself that I assume I got from my biological father was this kind of this like standoffishness. And I got even though I don't believe in like Latin Native American beliefs, I got the Native American name Standing Ram because of this. Like, if I have a reason, I will stand in somebody's way, and with no intention at all of backing down. And this got me into at least one fight in high school that I do remember, but I'm not going to tell that story. Um, and I learned today that that actually came from Mom's side of the family, because she told a story of, and this was after the ceremony, I believe, but she told a story of this older cousin of hers who liked to punch little girls and make them cry home to mommy. And when she found out about this, she chased the boy 2 laps around whatever house she was at before she finally got to him and left him black and blue and sent him crying to his mommy. So when I say Harmon blood, I'm talking about that standoffishness that I've always accredited to assholeism, to being my father's side of the family. And I'm going to end up having to put a disclaimer that this video is not exactly family friendly, because I'm using vulgarities, but like sparsely, but still. I'm probably going to like unlist it anyway, because I don't want everybody seeing this, because it's kind of private. But I do have close friends on the internet that I'm going to share this with. So, and I mean, it doesn't really matter, because I'm not big enough to even get money. So, which, speaking of, and I've had a lot of people, both family and not, at that ceremony ask me what I do for a living, and I brought up my YouTube channel, and they wanted a link to it, so I told everybody I would post a link on my Facebook channel, and I did like 2 days after, because it took me time to recover, because it was a hell of a trip. Haven't got a single subscriber since. And I've been at 20-ish for a long time, so I really need to get on like advertising or something. Anyway, I don't remember the rest of the speech, because there was stuff I said after that, but it's been a few weeks, and the trip home was hell. So yeah. Anyway, the internet's back up, so I'm gonna have to get back into the habit of making videos again, because I literally have no excuse at this point. And I believe that's about all I have to say, though. Yes, last month was hell, but I survived it, and I'm out of it, and I can make videos again. So, you know how it is. If you got to this point in the video, especially since I'm not showing this to everybody, like, it means it doesn't just mean a lot to me. It means the world to me. But anyway, new videos, if not tomorrow, then the day after, because it might take me a while to get into the habit again. But hope to see you in the next one. Farewell.